crack. 6 Blind Beggars. A story from around the world. A long time ago, across a turquoise blue sea in a tiny village in India, there lived 6 blind beggars. Because they were blind, they took it in turn to go down to the gate each morning to beg for their daily fare. One day, just as any other, the first blind beggar set out. And he returned in no time, puffing and panting and panting and puffing. "Oh, there is a monster at the gate!" I stretched out my hand to touch it, and it was so high and so long that though I reached as far as I could, I still could not find its end. The monster at the gate is like a wall, so big, and we are in danger. We must flee. The second blind beggar was not so sure, and so he decided to check for himself. He too returned in no time, puffing and panting and panting and puffing. I reached out my hand to touch it. It was not like a wall, for when I felt it, it was much smaller. No, not a wall, but more like a tree, and though I tried to lift it with my very strong arms, still I could not. We are in danger. We must run away. The third blind beggar decided to check for himself, and so he set off. After some time he returned, ambling down the pathway. There is something at the gate, it is true, but not a monster. For when I reached out my hand to touch it, it was soft and velvety smooth. I felt a gentle breeze upon my cheek on this simmering hot day. It was like a fan touching me. The fourth blind beggar did not know what to make of the other 3, and so he too set out to the gate. And he returned in no time, puffing and panting and panting and puffing. "Oh, there is a monster! I know there is a monster!" When I reached out my hand to touch it, there was nothing. But then, when I stood there, I felt the poke of a dagger at my neck. It tried to kill me. We must leave here or we will die. The fifth blind beggar thought they must all have gone crazy, and so he set out for the gate by himself. And he too returned in no time, puffing and panting and panting and puffing and puffing and panting and panting and puffing and puffing and panting and panting and puffing. Oh, I thought I would die, for when I reached out my hand, something wrapped round me, squeezing out my very breath. It was like a giant snake. We must run away. The 6th blind beggar did not know what to think, and so decided, of course, to seek the truth himself. He set off for the gate. He returned in no time, puffing and panting and panting and puffing. "I am very scared. I don't know what to do." For when I reached out my hand, there was nothing. Nothing. and then I felt it across my face. The sharp crack of a whip, hitting me first on one side and then when I turned, finding my other cheek. This is a dangerous and terrible monster. We must leave. And they began to argue. It was a wall. No, a tree trunk. A gentle fan. Quite definitely a dagger. A snake. No, a whip. For though they were all in part correct, not one of them had the whole truth. What was the monster at the gate? What did you think the monster was? Share your idea with 3O on Facebook.